Hello, Wanderers. I hope that you are doing well and that you are having a relaxing time. Today, I am about to embark on a journey. A journey that has required a lot of self-discipline and planning to be able to do everything that I want to do. And some of the dreams that I'm looking forward to fulfilling have been dreams that I've had since I was a very young boy. I remember when Braveheart was a very popular movie. I remember the first time I saw it. Funny story. It's the first time that I can remember. I'm sure I saw it before then, but it's the first time I can remember seeing naked breasts in a movie. Was the time I watched Braveheart. I was instructed to close my eyes and not to peek during that scene, but I did anyway. I was quite a young boy at the time. Why I was being allowed to watch a rated R movie, I don't know, but that is what it is. The violence was okay, but the boobies, boobies it's much more damaging to a young boy to see boobies than it is to see someone having their throat slit. I'm of course being facetious. I don't think that there's particularly damaging any scenes in Braveheart that are particularly damaging to young people, so obviously it deals with adult topics, and there's adult scenes, but anyway, I'm not here to talk about Braveheart necessarily. Just ever since I saw Braveheart, I wanted to go to Scotland. And at some point, I wore the family kilt for the first time. My mother had a family kilt that the story is that it was brought from Scotland. My ancestors brought it from Scotland, and I have verified it has the tartan of the Sutherland clan. And so ever since I wore that kilt, which by the way, the best tartan there is the Sutherland tartan. Sorry guys, it just is what it is. It's the best one. So the idea of someone saying that their personal preference of aesthetics is the best is humorous to me. I don't literally mean it's the best one. Obviously I understand that it's an aesthetic preference, but for me, I really enjoy the Scottish tartan. But yeah, it sparked something within me. I wanted to go and see where the Sutherlands come from. And as I've gotten older, I've learned more about them. We have I've shown it in the past, I have a mug. You can see pictures of it on Instagram. And in fact, I invite everyone to follow me on Instagram. It'll probably be the primary place that I'm posting pictures of my UK trip. So if you guys want to keep up with me on my journey, follow me on Instagram. But honestly, I understand if you don't really give a shit. I understand. If you are interested, follow me. If not, I understand. I completely understand. I mean, because yeah, it's just gonna be a bunch of pictures of me eating, probably, or at beaches. Some pictures of castles and stuff. The moors, the Scottish moors. Stonehenge. So, yeah. So I'm going to be going to Scotland and going to where the Sutherland clan is. And the clan crest has a cat on it. I'm a big cat lover, so that's good. A lot of people think that it's a lion. No, it's a cat. Or a cat a mountain, which is basically a mountain cat. So, it could be a larger cat, not like the domestic house cat necessarily, but it is a cat. It's not a lion or a leopard or any of the other cat-like, bigger cat, lion, tiger, leopard that they have. But yeah, it's a cat. It's got its claws out, and it's in the upper whatever that one's called. I forget. In heraldry, there's a specific, like, with the cat herald, like the cat symbols for them. They for the crests, there's 3 different stances that you see them in. In the Sutherland one, they're sitting on their 2 back legs, and they've got the 2 front legs up with their claws out. And the words are French, sans peur, without fear. And to get to the Sutherland region, the part of the Sutherland region that I'm staying in, I'm having to drive, which I've never drove internationally before. And there's a lot of things different about driving in the UK than there is driving in the US. One is roundabouts are very common, and instead of going to the right, like the roundabouts here in America, they go to the left. So there's that. They drive on the left-hand side. There is a national speed limit. So sometimes there's a road sign with just a black slash in it. And what that means is that you're subject to the national speed limit. And depending on which type of highway you're on, depends on whether that is either 65 or 75. I don't know. I'll look it up again. So it's something that I was very nervous of doing, and considered taking a train up there, or at least a train from Inverness, Scotland, where I'm flying to. But I looked at it, and it wouldn't be very convenient to do that. And then once I'm in Brora, Scotland, the town that I'm staying in, how will I go to the places I want to go see? Right? It's going to be a lot more difficult than if I have a car. So I'm going to rent a car. I'm going to proceed on the Scotland leg of my trip. I'm going to listen to the wisdom of my ancestors and go without fear. I'll be fine, right? But it's an anxiety-inducing thing for me. But in the end, if I can prove to myself that I won't let the anxiety prevent me from doing it. Then that's just me growing, becoming a stronger person, someone who's not as dictated by their anxiety, which is something that since I've started my ASMR channel, I have made so much improvement on. Really, I have. Which I know a lot of people don't like people who make their ASMR channels about themselves, but this has always been, for me, it's always been about my self-care program. So, yeah, I'm going to talk a lot about myself and what I've been able to accomplish. And when I go places, when I go out into public, I get very shy. Very shy. And I think it's a little more than just shy. I start to exhibit, anxiety, and sometimes I've had panic attacks. Luckily, I have those mostly under control now. When I start to feel them coming on, there's things I can do to keep myself from, really going over that tipping point. I think everyone knows who's had the panic attacks. There's that tipping point where you really start to panic and your whole world is ending. And while the anxiety starts to build and it starts to get to a point where I feel like I'm, there's things that I can do to reel myself back in and keep myself from going over that tipping point where my world truly is just ending. And if there was a switch that I could flip where I could just stop existing, I would flip it at that moment with no hesitation. That's where my panic attacks have taken me, right? But I've been able to employ a lot of these things that I've been learning about myself through these, what I call, what for me is a lot of what I would refer to as exposure therapy. Like, I can already feel the anxiety building about me traveling to the UK, but I'm not going to let it stop me. I'm going to push forward anyway. I'm going to use the tools that I have equipped myself with to not be controlled so much by anxiety. And I'm going to expose myself to a situation where I have had panic attacks in the past, and I'm going to use my tools and have confidence in myself that with these tools I can push myself further and further into these situations that I would call, exposure to my social anxiety. And this trip, I'm going to do my best. Obviously, I know there's going to be some days where I don't want to go anywhere, and I'm going to probably, I'll go do a few things, but, might need some time to myself to recharge, or basically one of the tools I have, what I'm trying to say is one of the tools I have is that if I really don't want to go do something, and I decide I'm not going to, I'm just going to stay in, wherever in is, right? Whether it's a hotel room or whatever, and I'm just going to stay in, and I'm just going to take the day off. That I'm not going to punish myself for that. Knowing that actually makes it way more possible for me to go and to push myself and expose myself to these situations, because just knowing in my mind that like, yeah, being able to remove myself from these exposures, right, without feeling like I'm a failure it's an incredible tool. I mean, it's one of the most important things that I have found for myself. And everything I'm talking about here is all for myself. And just references to myself. I'm not trying to say that this is the best way for everyone to handle, or that anyone else's anxiety is the same as mine, or limited in the same capacity or way. I've been very fortunate. My anxiety and panic attacks are fairly rarer than some of my siblings, for example. I don't know why I'm talking about this so much, but either way, I'm gonna go and I'm going to live out a few dreams that I've had since I was young, and push my boundaries further. And luckily I'll have some help along the way. There's some people that are friends of mine who I know I can rely on, and that helps a lot too. So thank you if any of you are watching. I don't know. But yeah, it's kind of just a soft-spoken ramble video, just talking about myself and my trip. I can understand how that might be annoying and pretentious. So, yeah, I understand, guys. This is not concentrating enough on the ASMR and concentrating too much on just me personally, but I never set out with this channel with the idea that I'm going to make ASMR and everyone's going to love it and I'm going to make a ton of money and be super popular. No, it's more been about me, which I know may seem selfish or kind of counterintuitive to why are you making videos for other people to get ASMR but are just about you. It's because it helps me. I like it. I enjoy it. And there are a few people who enjoy my videos too. But anyway, so I will wander forth into the wide world, and I hope that all of you can, at some point in your life, live out some of the dreams that you've had. I'm well aware that the fantasy dreams that I had of seeing Scotland as a kid are not going to be the reality of what I will find there. But who's to say I'm not going to find something more profound just by the mental clarity? Or maybe it'll just be like any other vacation, and it'll just be like going to a small town in Scotland. And whether it's in Clan Sutherland or anywhere else, it would have been the same for me. But I think it's something that is worth a try, and I think that if you approach certain situations from certain perspectives, that you can find a value there. Something that if you had gone from a different perspective, that wouldn't have been there. So me going to these areas from the perspective of me almost doing a pilgrimage to the land of my ancestors. It sounds just like such a douchey thing. I don't know. Sometimes my own pretentiousness seems to bother me. But that's because I'm cynical. I mean, yeah, anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope that You found this relaxing? If not, I'm sorry. Maybe you found it slightly interesting or whatever. You just really like long beards, so you just wanted to watch some dude soft speak side to side with a big beard. Whatever your pleasure is. Thank you for watching, and remember, keep wandering, my friend.